Maja John Madden Juanito sitting in the doorway of my tiny house in Acoma with Queenie by my side. Queenie and I are in the process of falling in love. And I'm falling in love with Negro, the other dog, and uh, Elvis the cat, and life, basically life. I'm non monogamous. Choose to be non monogamous and see it as the only path for me because I can't say to any one woman or person or dog, hey, it's you and me, babe, because it's me and life. My relationship is with life. And some parts of life come forward the way Queen has in the last couple of days. Hanging out, sleeping on the spread down there, following me around, prancing around with me. Clearly has not had an affectionate touch relationship, as all the street dogs who hang out with me here started out very skittish, very afraid any sudden movement of my hand, and she'd walk, jump away. But now we're getting tight. So, in the context of that, I am processing a very recent, powerful loss, staggering as I let it in over time. Myrna, who runs the coffee shop downtown, where I have hung out 6 days a week. Originally, because I had to process my videos, it was one of two good Wi-Fis in town. Now I have an even stronger Wi-Fi at home through the neighbor Ulysses. It comes through two concrete walls, and it's super strong and fast. So I don't have to go down there. I also had to go down there because my money would run out early in the month, and Myrna at her coffee shop was letting me run a tab 1 meal a day, and also Tequilaville grocery store across the street, similar. But to get hot food and good hot coffee. Now this morning I'm having good hot coffee in an cacao mug. That's from, I guess there's several locations, but the one I know is on the famous La Quinta Avenue in Playa del Carmen. And my landlord, Marcos, and his wife, Ruby, gave me a coffee maker, and I have not made coffee here until today. They gave me filters, but they somehow got destroyed or lost. But now I had milk and filters, and I made coffee. How domestic. But it inevitably reminds me that I think the best coffee in town was at Myrna's. They made super, super coffee. And the morning server, Guadalupe, was my primary person in Acoma. I spent so much time with her. And what a dear, simple 62-year-old Mayan-born indigenous lady. Knew Mayan before Spanish, like Marcos and Myrna. So Marcos, my landlord, is Myrna's brother. Myrna is a very complicated person, and I think she betrays her Mayan roots. She is so deep. And there's something haunting about her and Marcos and Guadalupe, who is Mayan also, and Lupita, the hairdresser next door, is a little bit Mayan, understands Mayan, but doesn't speak it. So in all my roaming around the U.S. and all my admiration for Native American stuff, I didn't get embedded in Native Americans, no. No, it was always from books and movies and stuff. But here in Riviera Maya, it's named Maya, Riviera Maya. The Mayan civilization is so thick here. And these are, Myrna and Marcos are exceptional native peoples in that they're not just staying in their village and coming to town to sell their stuff. No, they are running businesses in Spanish society here. And they're both extraordinary people. And Marcos says very clearly, Myrna's a tough customer. She fights with all her brothers, but I like her. I think she's one of my favorite sisters. They got like 9 kids. And Marco, who runs the hotel where I stayed 10 days, says, oh, Myrna, she's a sister to me. What a woman. And I feel the same way. Very, very special person. I could not have not yelled at her 4 days ago, something like 4 days ago, for the casual mistreatment of their wonderful dog, Mako. There's Marcos and Marco and Mako, M-A-K-O. What a dog, what a dog. And they're not, yeah, sometimes they're mean. Yes, sometimes, but not nasty, not nasty. But they don't get it that this dog is highly wired, hunting dog, wants to be running all the time. Most dogs in Akimau run free all the time. For whatever reason, they don't, well, they can't let the two dogs, and also the more German Golden Retriever-ish, more laid-back dog, they can't let them run together because they chase motorcycles, which is bad news. It's not funny. It's dangerous. So they can't let them off leash together. So there are reasons that they have to be leashed, but they're way too casual and dismissive of how painful it is for Mako, because he would run all day. He would run all day. He just wants to run. Also is more placid, settles in on the leash and sleeps a lot. But Mako's like, come on. When do I get to run? And he knows that when Myrna or David, her romantic and business partner, show up at the restaurant, that means it's time that he gets to run, because Guadalupe isn't empowered to do that. And he wouldn't listen to her. So Myrna shows up the other day, and from her second job, she's under a lot of stress. She's not making enough money, working two jobs. And this one's at a hotel doing something, admin or something, guest services, I'm not sure. So she wanted to sit there and kibitz with her buddy from across the street, the guy who runs Tequilaville. And he's a good guy, and they obviously have a wonderful friendship. Well, here's Negro. Negro! Hey, here's my other lover dog. Hi. Hi. How are you this morning? Come on already. He's still skittish. He's still afraid of my hand. But he more and more is moving in and rolling around on his belly and getting mental from how great it is to be loved. I think he knows that the other dog, they're friends. All the dogs in this little barrio, I'm calling it a barrio, our street, they all run together. They all know each other. And if a stranger dog comes in, they bark, 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 bark. What are you doing on our turf? Okay, so Myrna had arrived at the restaurant. Mako's going, okay, good, it's time for me. And I've told them, please, every time, let Mako off first, because he's dying to go. And they only partly respond to that. And then one day I said to David, can I get him a bone? Why? Well, so he has something to do there. He doesn't need anything to do. They pretend that it's not stressful for him. They just don't pay attention to his emotional needs. And that's Mexican. That's real Mexican. I go around. I've this has been building in me over weeks, because I will go around and give Mako love, and he jumps on me and hugs me, and he'll say, "You don't have any reason why they're not letting me run," So I go around and say to Myrna, sitting out front with her buddy, Mako's like going, and I have to speak Spanish to her. Mako's going crazy. Could you please let him run? Yeah. And she sits there and continues to talk. So I go back and trying to comfort the dog, and she comes out the back door of the restaurant, and he is so hyper to get going. He jumps up and pushes the door open, and then puts his paws on her, stands up, put his paws on her, like, come on, let me go. And she pops him one, not real hard, but she popped him in the head and yelled at him. I blew. I have no regrets about it. That dog had to be stuck up for her. How dare you? You created him being upset. Now you're yelling at him? God damn it. And I threw the wash rag that was in my hand into her chest. Well, I knew in the middle of yelling at her like that, it was relationship ending, because you can't yell at a Mexican like that and get away with it. They just abhor conflict. And there's a security camera back there, and David called me raging that night. You threw something at her face. And I threw a wash rag at her chest, and she barely, I'm sure she registered that I had thrown something at her, but yeah. So it ended the relationship. I went up the street to have a smoke. By the time I got back, all my shit was on the front table with a note saying, because I had just gotten my check and I was able to pay them, and she knew I was going to pay her. The note says, You owe 3,300 pesos, pay it and get out. And don't come back. So what a loss. What a loss. I could not possibly have done anything different. Every fiber in my being had to stick up for that dog. And I've since sent notes to her and to him saying, please don't let the fact that I yelled at you upstage what I was saying. And I sent it very succinct to David. I said, Mako is a prince of a dog. You have one hell of a dog there, and you don't realize it. You and Myrna could each become better people by being a little less self-absorbed, and the best place to start would be to pay better attention to Mako's needs. And that's probably the last communication over. I have to go over there this morning because Guadalupe, who I've had such a gorgeous relationship with, we sing to each other, Guadalupe Preciosa, Juanito. Oh, what a great relationship. Super sweet. Non-touch. I offered her a hug and she said, no, I don't hug. I hug family. Mexicans are high touch, family and close friends, but outsiders, no. But I encountered her by chance yesterday and she says, I didn't get a tip. And she's leaving. That was today is her last day of work and she's going back to her pueblo and we're not going to see her again. So I was going to lose her anyway. I said, I assumed when Myrna said the total is 3,300, she knew I was going to give you a 20% tip. Well, Myrna just said to me, John didn't give you a tip. Well, I don't have the cash today. Can I get it to you tomorrow? So I have to go. Marcos sent me a note saying he's going to meet me downtown and give me the money. So I have to go. Okay. Bye-bye.